I'd like to call the meeting of the Development Review Board to order, May 15, 2018.
Okay, first item on our agenda are the minutes from our last meeting.
Any additions, changes? See any? Any motions? Charles?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Mary seconds, all in favor?
Abstain.
So passed, right?
All right, next item on our agenda is the witness oath. We ask everyone who's going to speak to the board this evening to sign our sign-up sheet on the podium over there. It includes the following oath statement. I solemnly swear or affirm under the pain and penalty of perjury that the statements I make, the testimony I give, and other evidence I submit to the board and the board's public hearing held on this date shall be true and correct to the best of my knowledge and belief. Again, that sign-up sheet up there on the left. Next item on our agenda is disclosure of any ex parte communications or conflicts of interest regarding the hearings or the applications this evening.
Have any? Nope, don't see any.
Okay, our first hearing this evening is Craft Producers. They're seeking approval for the Arts and Craft Festival. This application was preliminarily reviewed by the application review panel, and the panel did ask for some additional information on the site plan, which the site plan was revised and new copies were distributed. I don't know, they did recommend approval, but there may be additional information that this board may want to see.
Do you have any questions for the applicant? You want to speak out about it?
Sure.
Get up to the microphone, please.
What would the questions be?
Do you have any questions, guys? Do you want to tell them? Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to ask if it's going to be, is this basically the same plan that you had last year?
Yes.
How many visitors were there last year?
Maybe 4,000 over the 3 days.
There must have been more than that.
No,
No.
no. We wish there were more than that.
Wow.
We're jealous of the garlic festival.
Gary?
I just have one thing to add. I don't know whether you're aware of this or not, but they're scheduled to start resurfacing Route 7 and Route 9 late in July. And that would probably put it right into here, but Dan, you said that there's a possibility we can ask them not to be working on that.
We'll make an effort for them to work around all the events.
Because they would be closing down everything but one lane.
It is a state project, so we have limited control, but we can certainly request things.
Just a heads up.
Thank you.
Is one deputy enough?
There's two.
They got two, I think.
Mine says one.
Right there in the bottom here.
No, like Deputy 2's up there.
Oh, okay, all right, okay. Oh, yeah, now I see it.
The traffic is considerably lighter than Garlic Fest, and the deputies themselves think that one would be adequate.
Okay.
They have their lights flashing during.
Yeah, there's a car.
Yeah.
And we also have one definitely at the crossroads from the parking lot to the actual show site. And that deputy's there all the time and stops traffic and lets the people cross and then lets the traffic go.
Anyone from the audience like to speak on this? I would say, when you come next year, have a drawing that's up to date so you don't have to change it.
I got the message last night and we will upgrade our drawing.
Yeah. Yes,
You
Ben?
had to,
I'll move to close the hearing and go to deliberative session.
Okay.
I'll second.
Second? Okay. All in favor? Dan should have an answer for you tomorrow.
thank you very much.
You're welcome.
The next item on our agenda is Main Composites. They're seeking approval for the installation of dust collection equipment on the exterior of the building. This application was preliminarily reviewed by the application review panel. There was a recommendation for approval, but the panel did ask that a brief presentation be given to the full board this evening.
Okay.
So yeah, we're requesting to add an additional dust collection system. This will be the third that we have at our facility. We've had great success with this style and model to facilitate the production line that we have there. Small pictures there. It's a clip art photo, showing where it's located or what it would look like on the east side of the building. It faces East Road. There are some orientation items that may be adjusted as far as waste collection and the orientation of the top half of the unit. Mapping for the unit was provided for everybody. Where it's located on the side of the building, trees will be installed to hide it from public view and neighbor view for the most part. And then we're requesting some allowances for truck access on that side of the building for waste removal. So we're proposing to widen the apron, put some signage up, allowing the trucks when they exit to the right to not interfere with the intersection. And then as advised by the review board yesterday, to pave 20 feet of that apron from the north to south.
That's from the property line.
From the property line.
Yeah.
Okay?
So it may end up being a little more than 20 feet because you'll have to pave the right of way and then 20 feet in from your property line.
All right, we may have to discuss exactly where the property lines are and figure all that out.
And we can do that.
Okay. Yep. We're more than happy to pave it. Make that part of the plan.
Any questions? Yep.
My main concern is sound, and I saw somewhere in here that there was 77 decibels at 5 feet. Across the street's maybe, what, 40 feet? Do you know approximately?
No, across the street is much further than 40 feet.
Do you know approximately what it would be at the neighbor's property line? Because there are several houses.
Right, so based upon the equipment we currently have, which is on the north side of the building, I did take some noise readings. I could not get anything higher than 60 decibels, and that was half the distance of what it would be to the houses.
And 60 decibels is equivalent to what?
Well, 70, I think, is speech.
Sorry?
70 decibels is normal conversation.
Isn't that what our town ordinance is?
Yeah, I think that's about right.
70 property line.
I'm saying 70 is a normal conversation.
And it's going 24 hours a day?
60 is...
Not necessarily.
60
It would only be running as that portion of the
70
production line is
stop
running.
For dishwasher.
Does it typically run weekends usually?
I'll wait until they're done.
What was that, Dan?
Does it typically run weekends as well?
Not typically.
Okay.
Our production line is not up yet. We anticipate 5 days a week, 24 hours a day. Possibility of some weekend work, but it's not guaranteed.
Okay.
This unit is going to serve a CNC machine to machine the parts that we have. It's going to collect the dust from that. We have a work booth that's going to be attached to that as well. So it's dependent upon that machine running.
Okay.
The cadence of the production right now looks like 5 days a week. The noise, and you guys are welcome to come down and take a look. Anybody's welcome to come take a look. They're actually quite quiet machines for their size. It's a large unit, but it's not anything that I feel is an impedance on anyone.
So Dan, I have made the folks that come in aware that should they violate the noise ordinance, they wouldn't be able to use the equipment, so that's why Matt took those measurements, so he feels pretty confident that there's not going to be any violation at the property line. So, but obviously that's something they'd have to deal with if it did end up violating the noise ordinance.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel as if we didn't already have one of these units, I'd have a different level of confidence in it. But we've had great success with the other 2 units that we have.
Mm-hmm. And they're both on the north side of it?
Yeah, they're both inside the property boundaries. It doesn't really face any neighbors.
And on that drawing, approximately where are the existing ones?
The existing ones on this drawing are here.
Oh, right next to each other? Okay.
Yep. The 2 that we have actually made together, the catwalk for servicing the top platform, they actually mate together. So you have a large workspace.
Yeah, it's pretty shielded. I don't really notice those when I drive by.
You can't see
Or
them.
when I walk.
No.
Any other questions? Anyone from the audience want to speak on this? Have any questions? Don't see anyone. Barry?
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Well said.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you very much.
Contingent on the paving.
Yes, we'll make sure that goes into the Our third and final hearing tonight is Richard Roy at 114 Hicks Avenue, seeking approval for self-storage units on that property. This application was reviewed by the application review panel last night. There was a recommendation made for approval, however, they did ask that the applicant make a presentation to the full board this evening, and I see that Rick Roy is here this evening. Hi, Rick.
Good evening. My name is Richard Roy. I am the property owner of 114 Hicks Ave, and I am proposing 4 mini self-storage buildings. Just a brief on the location of the property. If you come in from Northside Drive and enter the Bennington Car Wash, and you drive all the way back to the property where the self-serve units are, and you look straight ahead, I have an existing 4-bay garage on the property now. This project is going to the right-hand side of that garage, and we're proposing the first 2 buildings be done this year. One is 30 by 70 and one is 30 by 80, and then the next 2 buildings will follow within the next 5 years, phase 2. We have a curb cut in the center of the property, and we're proposing to blacktop that apron 20 feet in from the property line. We have maple trees for screening along the front of the property, and then a privacy fence along the side, along the existing garage, and then along the back of the property, another fence with white pine trees for a little bit of privacy and some greenery. Most of the property is flat and level. It does all pitch back from the road to the back end of the property currently. And my neighbor here has a construction yard in the back of the property, and he has his own entrance on the left-hand side. And I also own the house next door, and then the construction yard owns the house next to that as well. Questions?
Any questions? Yeah, Dan.
Looks like the future proposed buildings are slightly smaller,
Yes, 20 feet wide.
20 feet instead of 30.
Yep.
Any other questions? Anyone from the audience like to speak on this?
I have several questions.
You have to come up and sign in, please.
If you want to take a seat there, maybe it'll be easiest.
My name is Betsy Bluto Woods. I'm the owner of the Knotty Pine Motel. I am actually a property owner on Northside Drive, but my property also is on Hicks Avenue on the backside. So I guess my questions are maybe more for Mr. Roy. I got a copy of this plan as well, but I just, being that we are a commercial property, we are a motel, we have 18 units that have a back window that face this property. So is it okay to address Mr. Roy in these questions, or should I address you and you can ask him these questions, or? They're pertaining to sort of, but there's sort of a broad spectrum: landscaping, fence material, you know, that sort of thing.
Why don't you go, I would suggest you ask the board the questions, and then we'll just have Rick
Sure.
get up and answer.
Okay, so he mentioned some maple trees to buffer. You know, in my experience, maple trees tend to be quite tall. Would there be a lower shrubbery as well to buffer the front of this, so that if you're looking directly at the buildings, you can't really see the buildings?
Yes, there's going to be about 1.5 to 2 inch diameter maple trees, probably 4 feet tall, and we could put some arborvitaes in between them. There'll be about 25 feet of green space from the property line towards the buildings.
And what type of trees were the trees on the backside?
White pine.
White pine, okay. And fence material, you're going to secure the property with fence all the way around?
Along the side and the rear would be similar to galvanized chain link.
Nothing in the front of the property?
No.
Okay. So then my next question, I guess, is for maybe the board, and maybe Dan knows a little bit more about it. It's not a really heavily traveled road, although it is quite a heavily traveled pedestrian road. There's a footbridge at the end of the road that many, many people use to get down to the Walmart, and there's now a new bike path that starts there, the Ninja Path. The road, if you've ever traveled Hicks Avenue, is quite narrow. It's not a typical size Bennington town road. It's posted 30 miles an hour. Many people do much faster than that, trying to avoid the Northside Drive traffic lights. So my concern is also for pedestrians on this road. With additional traffic from the self-storage units, I'm just curious about what we might see in terms of traffic patterns now. This is a planned commercial, but it is a residential road. There are 8 homes just on that stretch right there.
Rick, how many units are you going to have in that first floor?
There's going to be roughly between 30 and 40 units, and a lot of people from other owners that I've talked to in town, frequent the units possibly once a month.
Okay.
So it depends on how often they're in and out, but I don't think a lot of people who rent these storage units are in and out very frequently.
It's 24 hours, 24-hour access?
We have motion lights, and at this time it would be 24-hour access. And I believe that road, it may not be paved 50 feet, but I believe it's a 50-foot wide road, according to the plans. It may not be paved that wide.
Yeah, I would rely on your surveyor for that information, but.
Yeah, it was noted on the site plan.
But currently, there's no sidewalk, and there's no markings on the road for any type of bike lane or walking lane or anything. And it is frequented now by quite a bit of construction equipment. As you mentioned, Dan Dwyer owns a piece of property there for a landscape business. It's mostly that and people using it for a cut through, and then the few residences that are on the property as well. So I just have the concern that for noise, being if you can access it 24 hours, our motel units are right on Hicks Avenue. There's less than a 6-foot buffer from my property to the road.
I think your units are down a little bit.
This is where I would be right here. But I also I come all the way to the edge of the property here that views it. So they would not necessarily be directly in front of your units, just like the front, but it's still within the sight line of several of those.
And I know there's a proposed future from the footbridge down along the river corridor, proposed bike path.
That's proposed, which we'd love to see, but in the interim, I am just slightly worried about pedestrians. There's lots of family travel on that road.
Does your motel have an exit onto Hicks Road?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. So.
Any other questions?
None heard.
Mike? Do you have any questions?
Yeah, none.
I'm finished. I just wondered if there's any way as a property owner and it being a motel, just that we request heavy landscaping. I am concerned as well with not having any fencing on the front of this. It's wide open, and I would just recommend being concerned. I've lived there for 44 years, and I wouldn't leave my property unattended that way without some kind of fencing on the front line. It's really heavily traveled by pedestrians.
Any more questions?
Hi, my name is Maru Leon, and I...
You have to sign in, please.
Oh, I have to sign in? Okay. Hi, I'm Maru Leon Griffin, and my husband and I are the owners of Mount Anthony Country Club. And we were not notified of this project, so I just heard about it this morning. And I just wanted to, we have some basic questions because this is the first time I hear about it and we don't know exactly what is the distance from the fence that is being proposed to the river. Because the country club looks right into this property right now. So all of the lower holes and above, and the same as the holes above, look right into that property right now. So when this is, now that it's clear and you're doing work, we see what's going on, but we had no idea that this is what was being planned. So can you explain to me what's...
There's two other properties before me. And in the back is the construction property.
Okay.
But basically I have a...
So the river is right here, right?
The river is
Right here.
over here, and this is the neighbor's property here. There's another piece of property here that James Colvin owns, right here. And then this is Dwyer's Four Seasons, and all this is Dwyer's Four Seasons, and then the river's over here.
Okay, so how much is there from here to here? I mean, is this already planted right now? I'm just trying to figure out if this is being cleared right now with your...
This is not my property. This is the Dwyer's Four Seasons. So my property's next door to him.
Okay.
So it's, the river's right in here, and then there's this other property here. So I'm doing a buffer between my property and his property.
Okay, and how high is the fence here?
6 feet. And then the trees will be, 6 to 8 feet. And I know this property next door here is probably 5-6 feet higher than his and mine.
Okay, is there a reason why we don't get notified even though
Not abutting property owner?
we're not abutting? Okay, I guess, what is the, I guess we will see it from the golf course. I guess my concern would be just the choice of trees that are selected and how quickly they grow and how high they can go in order to cover that, because you will see the structures, the big rectangles all along.
Yeah, these buildings are 8'6" tall to the peak of the roof, so they're very short buildings. So the current garage I have next door is actually taller than both the buildings that I proposed to build.
And these are the first two that are being proposed,
Yes.
the ones that are in pink.
And the existing garage is right
Right
here.
here.
Towards the road, yeah.
Okay, well, that would be our only,
Yeah, so I think if we do 8-foot trees in the back, we'd be at the building height, and maybe Mr. Hurst could let us in on how fast they grow. I think they grow relatively fast.
They'll grow a foot a year,
about a foot a year.
minimum.
Okay. Okay, that's my,
Eventually, I plan on also extending the trees around.
this part.
Yes, that part too.
Okay.
Possibly in the fall, but probably next spring. And that area is getting cleaned up sooner than later.
That'll make your property look nicer too, actually.
Yeah, just to, screen my property from the neighbor.
Okay. And what color fencing is it? Is it stainless steel or is it
Yeah.
black? Okay.
Galvanized.
But
Galvanized.
that fencing is going here along this side of the building, and up through here.
Okay,
As
so
of
it's
right
not
now,
here.
this is where I plan on putting trees, and I may down the road do fencing here as well. I just plan on leaving this natural and cleaned up for right
For
now.
now.
Yeah.
Yes, Bill?
On the lighting, you said it's going to be motion sensors?
Yes.
What direction are they going to be pointing?
Pointing downward.
Just a downward light?
Yes.
And how big a light's it going to be?
They were about, I'd say 8 inches by 4 inches.
Yeah, but what, do you get any idea how much wattage?
Oh, 60 watt, I believe.
Are they the flat LED type, you know?
Yes, and they point downward. They protrude out about 3-4 inches. And we've got them all spotted out. The distance they recommended apart.
And Rick, just to clarify for the folks here, because I know you talked to me about it, those lights won't be on all the time. They'll just come on if there's a motion, you know, if the motion sets off the sensors. So it's not intended to be lit up space for all the time.
Yes.
Anyone else need to speak on this?
Will the, sorry.
Yeah.
Will the pine trees in the back be on either side of the fence or?
Yes.
Okay, so you're gonna alternate them?
Yeah.
That's probably-
Anything else for the applicant?
I have a question.
Debbie?
Your lighting, is each individual building on a separate sensor, or do they all come on?
Each light is on a separate sensor.
Each light is?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes, good.
Question.
Yeah.
It's probably here, but is this the actual color that's in the picture? Is it going to be white and gray?
It's light tan and dark green doors.
And the roof's going to be what?
Natural galvanized.
These units are not the same size, so there's an awful lot of,
Yeah, no, this was just a projectory. No, my buildings will be much smaller than these. We did 2 separate buildings. We're keeping them under 2,500 square feet each for fire code.
What's the board feel?
I'm all set.
Barry?
I'll move to go to close deliberations.
I'll second it.
Close it here.
Charles seconds, okay, all in favor? Dan will have an answer for you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Give me a call in the morning. Excellent. Okay, unless there is any other business, motion to adjourn the hearing and go into deliberative session would be, adjourn the meeting and go into deliberative session would be appropriate.
So moves. Charles seconds. All in favor?
thank you, everyone.
Thank you.